Okay, so I had made a promise to students that I would never make them do an assignment that I myself wouldn't do. And so we've been working on this research paper, and I have written a final research paper. In fact, I'm sharing it on my screen right now. There's a page in Schoology where you can actually read the thing in its entirety. But I wanted to just kind of give you a preview of like what the final product should kind of look like. I'm going to do a separate video that's your editing checklist, but I want to describe like what the final product should look like and how we got here. So what I'm sharing with you right now is my final draft. I have the correct heading and everything there. I've changed the words title of your paper to the actual title of the paper, etc. So what I'm kind of looking for when I grade this is I'm looking for an introduction. I'm looking for a body paragraph that it was about the life of the person. So in this case, I wrote a body paragraph about William Lloyd Garrison. That's what I researched. Um, I needed a body paragraph about what they did to fight against slavery, what their activities were. So my second body paragraph right here was 100% about the type of activities that he engaged in to fight against slavery. The third body paragraph then was about like why is this person still important today? And for that, I actually looked up some of his speeches and letters and things and saw some of the words that he was using to fight against slavery and how they still resonate today. And then obviously, then the last paragraph should be your conclusion where you restate the abolitionists that you researched and you recap some of the things that they did and that you covered in your paper and the like. And then, of course, then when you scroll down, we had already created a page break in your document, and there should be a works cited page, and it should be in alphabetical order. And in this case, it is. So here's one source, second source, and then third source. So that's essentially like what should be in the research paper, and I'll be sharing this there. But how do we get there? So way back when I first started doing the research paper using the exact same template that I gave you guys, notice it says like title of your paper. Notice it says plan and type your introduction here. So the only thing I put for my introduction was like who I was researching. The second thing then is all of the biographical information that I had in my digital note cards, I copied and pasted it here. So you can see I had a lot of information about his life. I had a source from Funk and Wagnalls. I had a source from a book by a guy named Stewart. I had actual speeches that's later on by William Lloyd Garrison himself. But you can see that I had a whole lot of information that I had gotten from those sources just about his life. I didn't necessarily use all of it when I actually decided that I was going to write it. You see then, so what did he do to fight against slavery? These are the things that I had copied and pasted from my digital note cards and put them here as things that I would like to talk about, along with the citations accordingly. And then why is he still relevant today? These were some of the things that I wanted to talk about. These are all speeches and examples of things that he said in one of his speeches, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So then that's how I planned to write the three body paragraphs. I put all the research into those three categories. Then you'll see it says draft stage two. So this was my second draft. I kept the exact same thesis as it was, but this time I started to write the paragraphs using the bullet points. Now, I did not use all of the bullet points. I only used ones that I thought sounded natural and should fit inside of this. So you'll see, like, all right, so this is what he did to fight against slavery. He was born on this date and he experienced these things when he was a kid. This actually came from two different sources, so I'm giving credit where credit is due by having the two sets of parentheses. The experience of being poor inspired him to do. And then, so you'll see then there's all of this information. And actually, all of this information came from just this one source, Stewart. So I didn't have to have a parentheses for every single one between there and there. I just needed the one with, because there were three sentences in a row, just cite it there. So then you can see that I started to write the body paragraph for number two using the bullet points. The same technique I used in the first body paragraph, same one I used in the second. And then obviously then I wrote a third body paragraph and I used these bullet points to be the things that inspired what I was talking about there. And I maintained and kept these parentheses handy because you have to have them in the final body of your paper. So then that's how we got to this final draft. I basically typed those paragraphs and deleted all the stuff that was like either directions that were on the template. I deleted the lines that were separating the different areas and basically just left the writing there intact. So that's kind of how that got done and what the process was. We went from just, hey, here's the information that we have, to let's start making paragraphs out of the information that we have, to the final draft, which is now it's just the paragraphs and we're getting rid of all of the bullet points and stuff and making sure then that we have a works cited page that works. So that's kind of how the process worked when it came to writing this research paper. Now, I'm going to confess something. It took me maybe an hour and a half from doing nothing all the way to final publishing this, of actually just reading the sources and citing them as I went through, then organizing them, and then drafting and writing a final draft. An hour and a half. Now, granted, I'm an English teacher. I've professionally written. I'm very fast at doing this kind of stuff. I have a master's degree where like I had to write like 35 APA style research papers. So I'm pretty good at doing this kind of stuff. But really when push comes to shove, if you're focused on the process, it goes by easy and the research paper kind of writes itself, as you can see in the example that we have